Good afternoon, everyone. We're glad to have Jacob as well. He just had to make a detour somewhere. We'll perhaps won't say where. Are you ready for a fantastic afternoon? Fabulous. This is one of the finest town halls in the country. Somebody just said Huddersfield. It's a wonderful place, and you can actually see it from the ring road, and it looks very splendid. And we are the finest university band, as proven by our, we actually came second behind the conservatoire at the Unibrass, so you're very lucky to hear us. And he looked at me like, you know, when your cat wants to come in. Just then, he was the best soloist as well. Anyway, we're going to move on to the first piece. It's called Gaudate. We often get requests for certain pieces. Oh, you're going to do this carol or that carol, and say, well, not this year. And there's many, many carols that people have got as favourites. So what we thought we'd do an overture. It's actually the finest Christmas overture that's ever been written. And you remember Leroy Anderson? He did Syncopated Clock, The Typewriter, quite a few of those. Well, he's written a Christmas overture called Christmas Festival, and I think there's probably about 32 Christmas tunes in there, and it's a terrific arrangement, and it's worth listening. At the end, he brings 3 or 4 of the Christmas tunes together, and the trombones get to shine. So you'll look forward to that. We always like shiny trombones. So many of the bands play for, as well as the university, they always join a local band, or sometimes not so local. So we've got players in the band that plays for the Leyland Band in the other side of the Pennines. Gets his passport out sometimes when he goes over the hill. And I think Desford is another one. We've got people play for the Hammonds Band that rehearse in Huddersfield at the old Sellers factory. But this young man who's going to play the solo is actually principal cornet for the Haid Edge Band, just over in the hill, up at you know, where it snows even in summer. And he's been there a few years. When it started, I think you were on rep, weren't you? And then you've been promoted to principal cornet, and he's doing really well. Where are you from? Matthew? North Wales, Malden. Mould. Oh, Mould. Yeah, so Matthew Bennett is going to play a beautiful tune, but it's really not just a solo, it's a duet, because this was there's a brass plays Bible, I think we could call it that, called, it's actually called the Art of the Arbon. Well, the proper name is the Cornet Method, but it's by a French cornet player, I think probably from the Paris Conservatoire, about 100, how old is it, about 110 years old? Anyway, it's still used. Cornet Method, and it's that thick and it weighs a ton. And there's lots of technical exercise, but actually there's a different kind of technique which just produces a beautiful sound, just so consistently, and that kind of technique is one that, you know, musicians, probably singers as well, really respect, and I think Matthew did brilliant with that aspect, so can we give Matthew Bennett another round of applause? So it's your turn now to join us. So a tradition of these concerts, which we've been going on quite a while now, is to sing Hark the Herald. If you like to stand, we're quite happy for you to, you know, get some air in those lungs and things. Hark the Herald, 3 verses. Well, we're supported by a wonderful team at Huddersfield University of musicians, but we couldn't do it without the office staff. Well, the office staff, and we'll send an email, and there's about 3 hours worth of photocopying for them, and they never moan and they never groan, but one thing they do is that they like this piece, and if you it's all for girl power, is this film, and it's called Frozen. Have you seen it with your children or your grandchildren? Yeah, it's a good film actually, and the music from most of the Disney, probably I don't say all, but is absolute top notch. The playing and the actual compositions, and this is another good one, and it's called Let It Go. It's a terrific arrangement by Philip Harper, so we know it's going to be very difficult. But just have a look at the percussion, they have to do a lot. They're always kept busy in this one. Let It Go. to a piece that isn't played very often these days, and because I don't think people know the tunes so well, but it's actually, as you'll know in your programme, it's called Caribbean Christmas. And I don't know whether you know that Huddersfield attracts, presumably mostly from Huddersfield, well, the university attracts a massive spectrum of people from all around the world. I mean, we've got Al, you're from Netherton. But actually, Shubham there, who you see there, is actually a piano student, and he is from India. And I just said to him yesterday at the rehearsal, how warm is it? You know, you think it's very, very sort of dark, wet, cold, cool weather. I said, well, how warm is it in India? And he had a look on his app on his phone. It's 27 degrees, and that's their winter. He said, oh, that's nothing. You get to summer and it's 45 to 50 degrees. So yes, he's feeling the cold there. So if you notice, he's got a t-shirt, a black t-shirt, and a scarf on to just keep him warm. And we've introduced him to Damn Art. So he's got his Damn Art long Johnsons as well. Keep him warm. So we're going to move on to our next piece, which is Caribbean Christmas, and this should make you feel all a little bit warmer. Richard came, I remember him auditioning actually, came up from Bournemouth, and he didn't really have much idea about a lot of things, and like brass banding for example, but he's quite quickly got into the bands and the orchestras locally, and he's playing for, is it Ellen now? Plays for the Ellen band, so he's done very well. Normally the tubas, we sort of do jokey pieces, don't they? Frosty the Snowman and things like this, the son has got his hat on. But he's chosen quite a serious piece, and it's basically, it's called Song for the Skies, and it's by Paul Lovett Cooper, who is obviously written quite a lot for bands. But this is really a bit of a reflection on, the not too exact, but sort of just a general perception of, the weather and how things are changing in the atmosphere, and just to sort of really say that we've got to respect the environment, respect the skies, and it resonates to the students here quite a lot. And I think the sort of yearning sound of a tuba playing sort of slow melodies, we don't hear it very often, is it's a little bit like a whale call really, it's quite powerful. Anyway, can we welcome Richard Andrews to the stage to play On the Sky? that just a fantastic sound? We need to hear more of the tuba solos. Paul Andrews, well done. Richard, that's Richard there. So we're going to move on now to a sort of a good old-fashioned selection, we used to call them. It was written really as a part of a full programme where it celebrated the amazing life of Roald Dahl. And this last piece incorporates, I'll just have to look down because I'll get it wrong, but it's got, he wrote the screenplay to Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, and then also, so you've got Pure Imagination from the film Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Something interesting about that, it was Gene Wilder who did it in 1971, and he was asked, he was obviously a big star by then, he asked if he'd do it, if he thought about it. He wasn't sure, and he said, well look, I'll tell you what, I'll do it. But I'll only do it if you let me at the start hobble on stage and do a somersault and then be fine. And they said, well, okay, but that's fine, we'll let you do that, but why? He said, well, then you'll know that anything that I do is all an illusion. And that was his reason. So just some, well, I think Wikipedia told me that when I was looking for this. Anyway, and then the last one is a little bit more modern, and it's called When I Grew Up, from the musical Matilda. Has anyone seen Matilda? Brilliant, yeah, excellent. It's about a child's view of being an adult and the various pros and cons. So it's a great film, and it features, the whole band are featured basically. There's a lovely euphonium solo for Jacob there. He's got a fabulous sound, and it's a sound that got him into the Hammonds band. So he plays for Hammonds now. So it's called The World's Greatest Storyteller. you enjoy that? Fantastic, great arrangement there. I think, wasn't Jacob super? Let's give Jacob a I thought he was going to knock one of the cornet players onto the floor there for a second with his very posh instrument. How much did that instrument cost? How much was it? £8,000? £8,000. Don't get your parents playing the euphonium. Stick to a recorder. So, it's your turn. We've got, what was it, once in Royal Davis City. It'd be lovely if you stood as well, and let's really get your lungs free and you'll enjoy it all the more. Once in Royal Davis City. we sadly come to our last piece, but before we do that, and we talk about that, so we just want to thank you very much for coming out of your warm houses. You can turn the heating off, I guess, for a couple of hours and save a bit of money on the gas, can't you, I suppose, I'm never sure quite where to park in Huddersfield these days, so I hope you've got parks all right. We really appreciate you doing that, supporting the university. It's a great way that we can meet people of Huddersfield from the university, and what better way it is through a concert and through music. So we're really delighted. It's a highlight of our Christmas for the university. So thank you again. Very proud to be here. Our last piece is called, well, you remember about 2,000, maybe 2,100 or so years ago, there was a very important event in Bethlehem, and quite a few people had to get there on time, so the angels, well, they were relaxed, they got wings, and of course the three kings, they were looked after because, lots of high quality steed got them there, and wise men were there, very intelligent, they found a way. But poor Mary, she didn't have those advantages, and if she'd not got there, then the whole of history would have been quite a lot different. And so we've got to thank one person, well actually not one person, one donkey, and that's the little donkey, who, he's not even got a name, and we want to celebrate that little fella and thank him in our last piece. And it's called Little Donkey, and it features all of the bands, so you've got a cornet section, horns, percussion featured, baritones and euphonium, trombones, poor old basses just have to sort of slug it out playing these other basses. We don't give them too much excitement. Thank you, have a wonderful Christmas, God bless, and we'll finish with Little Donkey. are saying tapping on your leg. Just bear in mind if you're driving, some of these lot have driver's licenses.